Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be talking to you today. It's Monday, the Monday after Thanksgiving, if you are in the States. And we actually take that opportunity to spend time with our loved ones. And we had a great time doing that. And we're back today to talk about eating healthy on a budget. Some of you are shelling out lots of money over this weekend, a big shopping weekend full of sales and deals. And so I am thinking about budgeting and making sure that I stay on track with my budget and my goals and my health. So I thought that we would launch this series called Eating Healthy on a Budget. So I'm so thankful that you're here with me today. You're going to want to share this out because I'm going to be sharing some great information with you today, and it's going to be quick and to the point. So before we go any further, I want to make sure that I introduce myself. My name is Theresa Horne. I'm the founder and lead trainer at Sisterhood of Strong, and we help Kingdom women build healthy lifestyles. And we do that making sure that we have our priorities in line, in check. And our first priority is to serve God and put Him first. And so that's what we're talking about today, how we are doing that with our food choices, and we're on a budget. And budgeting isn't necessarily something we do because we don't have enough money. We do it because we want to be good stewards of our money, right? We want to be good stewards of our money and of our bodies. And so we do that by being mindful about the food choices that we make. And today we're talking specifically about meal planning and meal prep. So you want to lean in and listen to this. Meal planning, meal prep, what's the difference? Why should I even care about any of that? But before we go any further, I want you to go ahead and take a minute to share this out. If you're watching me live, I see eyeballs. Thank you so much. If you're watching me live, please say live in the comments. And if you are catching the replay, say replay. We're talking about meal planning and meal prep. It is the first of our series on eating healthy on a budget. And so, first, I want to define the difference between meal planning and meal prep. You will often hear them used interchangeably, but they're two different things. And so we're going to go over that first, meal planning and meal prep. They're both important. I think meal planning is more important than meal prep. But when you put them together, you really set yourself up for success. So when we talk about meal planning versus meal prep, again, I think meal planning is more important. But when you put meal planning and meal prep together, you really have a recipe for success. And that's what we want to do. We want to set ourselves up to be successful. So meal planning is just that. We look ahead at our schedule and we plan the things that we want to eat. So we look at our schedule and then we plan the things that we're going to eat. The most important part of the meal planning, I think, is to actually look at your schedule and be realistic, right? So for most of us, our schedules change from week to week, maybe even from day to day. You may have a rotating work schedule. You may have a lot of things that happen on call. You may have children or that you're caring for. You may have older adults that you're caring for. You want to look at what your actual schedule looks like and then plan your meals according to that schedule. So if you know that you're going to be out of the house for the majority of the day on Tuesday, you don't want to plan a meal that requires you to be home cooking for an extended period of time, right? Because that really means that you're setting yourself up to fail. So you want to look ahead at your schedule and then plan your meals accordingly. So again, thinking, okay, Tuesday, we're going to be out of the house for most of the day. I'm going to be driving around, taking people to doctor's appointments. What kind of meal can I plan ahead that's going to be quick and easy? Or maybe the plan that day is to get carry out, right? So we're not saying if I plan, I always eat food from the house. We're saying I look at my schedule and then I plan accordingly. That is what meal planning is, right? So, our goal obviously is to ultimately be able to eat foods that we cook at home the majority of the time, but that doesn't mean that we're always going to do that. But we want to have a plan in place, and that requires us looking at our schedule to really look at what's feasible. What am I actually going to do? Because if we don't look for our schedule, if we plan, okay, Tuesday, I'm going to make a pot roast and I'm going to slow cook it all day. And then you get to Tuesday and you realize, I'm not even going to be here. That's not going to be helpful for you. So we want to look at our actual schedule and then put in foods, put them in the plan according to our schedule. Then we want to look at meal prep. So we talked about meal planning, meal prep. Meal prep is when you look at your schedule, you have a plan, and then you prepare some of the food or even all of the food beforehand. So you prep things beforehand. That could mean that you cut up vegetables. That could mean that you wash lettuce. That could mean that you brown the ground turkey. That could mean that you slice the I don't know, the steak, whatever. It could mean that you grill chicken on Sunday. That is a big one for us during the summer. We will usually always have grilled chicken. And my husband grills on the weekend, usually during the summer. And so we usually always have grilled chicken. But you prep some of the food for the week ahead of time. Now, for us, the way I teach meal planning is we actually prep pieces. So we prep chicken or vegetables. I don't prep whole meals, but you actually could. If you look up meal prep on Pinterest, there's tons of ways to prep things in little boxes. So you have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not what works for our family. And it's probably because we have a pretty big family and then would have to have lots of containers in my refrigerator. But that is an option. You could actually prepare whole meals and have them so you could just grab and go. That would be prepping an entire meal, right? But you can just prep, like if you're going to have stir fry, you could just prep the onion and the green pepper and the I don't know, whatever else green beans. You could just prep that, and then when it comes time to actually have stir fry, you could prepare with the things you've already prepped. So when we think of meal prep, you don't have to be thinking of complete meals in little boxes. You can prep parts of the meal ahead of time, right? You could also prep by having one of the things that I love to eat is sweet kale salad. It comes in a bag. Everything's in the bag, and I just add protein. If I know that I'm going to have sweet kale salad twice a week, I could just have that in the refrigerator ready. That's my plan, and that's the prep. The only thing I would do is add a protein to it, right? That is also meal planning and meal prep. I prepped. That doesn't mean I actually cooked or chopped or did anything, but I prepared ahead of time by buying what I needed. I had a plan and I prepared by buying what I needed ahead of time. So if that makes sense to you, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Give me some hearts in the comments or likes in the comments if that makes sense to you, because I want to make sure that you're getting this, because it's really important that we know what we're talking about. We have good definitions, because this is really going to make the difference when you are on a budget. So if you have unlimited resources to spend on your food, you still want to be a good steward of what you have, right? You want to make sure that you're being a good steward of the resources that you have, because we know when we are good stewards, then and God knows that He can trust us with the resources, that we can sow more into other people, and we also receive more, right? So we do want to be a good steward. We don't want to just, even if you have unlimited resources, you just don't want to buy and consume and waste. You want to be a good steward of your resources in this way. So one of the myths, or one of the things that I hear a lot when we talk about meal planning and meal prep, is I don't really like to have a meal plan or have foods prepped, because what if I get to that day and I don't feel like eating that? Right? So that's kind of the myth of variety that we have. We have this idea that we eat so many different things, that we just eat so many different things. Thank you so much for joining me. I see you guys in the comments. So many different things, but when you think about it, when you go out to a restaurant, you really usually only eat about 5 different things. We have an idea in our head that we like variety, but when it comes down to our actual choices, we don't really eat that many different things. So that's the first thing that I want to say is, you can think that you like variety, but when it comes down to it, most of us don't eat a large variety of things. So that's number one. Number two is, when we think about, I thought about my plan, I prepped my food, and now it's Tuesday and I don't want to eat that. What is that really? What is the underlying issue there? We have made a plan, we have prepped food. When you get to that day, if you don't want to eat it, what's really going on? So it could be a variety of different things. But what I see a lot is, it's not really that we don't want to eat it. It's more about the being disciplined and sticking to what we've planned to do. So some of us really have an issue with discipline. We have an issue with disciplining ourselves, or deciding to do something and then sticking to it. So it's not so much that we don't have a taste for this. If you went to the trouble of planning and prepping, and you took the time to do it, you should be planning food that you want to eat. You should be prepping food that you want to eat. So when you get to that day and you don't want to eat it, what is the real issue? Perhaps, maybe it is actually that you don't have a taste for, taco salad that day. But some of us are coming up against the fact that we don't want to discipline ourselves. And it's a bigger issue, right? So really, again, you guys, I'm talking to you as a kingdom citizen. You need to ask Holy Spirit, what is that issue? If you cannot stick to a meal plan, if you can't prep your food and stick to it, what's the issue? What is the issue? Because if you were to go to Applebee's and order off the menu, you probably order the same 3 things. So it's not really about what, it's about why. Yeah, it's not about what, it's about why. Why can't I stick to the plan that I make? So I want you to think about that. I want you to, if that is one of the things that's holding you back from planning your meals, I want you to ask Holy Spirit, what is it about the plan that is getting me stuck? What is it about having a plan for my meals that's my sticking point? Because we're going to move past that. We want to get over that, because we know that when we have a plan, we do better. And we want to do better when it comes to the food that we're putting in our mouth. We want to do better when it comes to food that we're putting in our body. If we want to be a good steward of our body, if we want to be a good steward of our temple, we need to have a plan for how we're going to do that. because we only have a certain amount of time and we want to use that time wisely because you have things that you're called to do. And choosing to have fast food day after day is not being a good steward of your temple. So we're going to do better. And if sticking to a plan is a issue, then it's time that we figured out what that issue is. And for some of you, the issue is becoming disciplined with your choices. And so we're going to come against that and we are going to figure out what it is, and then we're going to tackle that issue. Meal planning and meal prep. So we talked about meal planning, we talked about meal prep. We've got lots more to cover in this series on eating healthy on a budget because we want to be good stewards of our money. That means we're not going to just be spending money on this. We're going to be good stewards. And this is just day one. So join me next Monday and we'll be going into how we can have variety and how we can make good choices. So the issue is not really that we're making a choice that we didn't like. We want to have food with flavor. I like to eat good food too. So that doesn't, if I have a meal plan and meal prep, doesn't mean I'm prepping and planning to eat something that's not tasty because I like tasty food, right? So you want to join me next Monday. We're going to go in again and talk about eating healthy on a budget. My name is Theresa Horne, Sisterhood of Strong. Thanks so much for joining me. Make sure you share this out because you want people to be able to check out this episode and also check out the episodes that are coming in this series. You can watch here on Facebook or on YouTube. You could also visit us on the website, sisterhoodofstrong.com. If you haven't already joined our email list, I'm going to put a link in the comments for you to do that. I have a resource that I created for you. It's my meal prep essentials. It's at least, I think 10, it might be 12 things that I like to have in the kitchen that make meal planning and meal prep so much easier. The most expensive thing on that list is an Instant Pot. Everything else is $50 or less. Most of them are around $25 or less. Actually, there's a blender on there. The Instant Pot is not essential, but I do use our Instant Pot, and you could also use a crock pot or a slow cooker, but the Instant Pot just has both settings. So if you're going to buy one, that's what I suggest. But actually, if you want that list, you just want to join our mailing list, I'll put a link to that here in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Theresa Horne, Sisterhood of Strong, and we'll see you guys next Monday.